the easiest ones. They're the highest percentage. Takedowns are the exact same way. So double legs and single legs are the ones you see the most. Come over here. One thing is I shoot, like you guys see, I drop my knee. And most wrestlers do that. You also see some wrestlers and MMA fighters, they take the shot and they never touch the ground. They go like this and they stay on their toes and then finish the shot. They follow all the same principles we're going to go over. If you choose to do that, that's perfectly okay with me. I don't care. I've just been trained to drop down as low as possible and go in, and that's how I do it. But it's still an effective shot. You can still take a single leg without spin a little bit. You can still take a single leg without dropping to the ground, and you can take a really nice double leg. If you watch George St. Pierre, his shots, he never drops a knee to the ground. He hits them like this, and he drives them. He just drives them right into the cage or into the mat. It's a fantastic shot. So play with that too if you want to. I'm just the guy that always shot low. Okay. I'm going to go over these principles, and I'm going to ask you guys this as we go throughout the day. So try to remember these. The first thing we need to analyze when we're taking a shot is our distance. If you're too far away, he can see it coming, and he's going to be able to defeat the shot no matter how great or wonderful your shot is. So what you need to do is your rule of thumb is you want to be within a bent arm's length of your opponent. And that's how you can tell that you've got a good distance. And anything closer than that is fine too. I can just shoot from in here and then just do the shot. So it doesn't matter how close you are, but you don't want to be too far away. Same thing is if we get a good distance and then we step back and shoot. You see a lot of people do that. They load their shot, they rock before they go, and that's telling him, here it comes. I give him that time to analyze my shot, and then I come in and he defeats the shot. So what's our first thing we have to think about?
Arm length.
Distance. Distance. Rule of thumb is a bent arm length. That's where we want to be. The second thing we need to do is setup. You can't just shoot. Well, sometimes some people are so fast they can just shoot. But it's good to do a setup because I need to distract him in some way so that I can complete my shot. And that is a myriad of things. It can be a tap on the forehead to make him blink, pulling his head, he reacts, I shoot, pushing him back, popping his shoulders, pulling his hands away, pulling his hands to me, and then he reacts and pulls back and I shoot. Sometimes I let people grab, if people like to grab my wrists like this, I let them grab my wrist and then I clear their hands and shoot. So there's a ton of setups you can do. One thing we'll do today is when I'm talking to you, we're just going to do the old tap on the forehead. It makes people blink, and for that split second, you can get in there and get the shot. So the first thing we have to do is get the correct distance. The next thing we have to do is a setup. So I'm going to tap him on the forehead, okay? The next thing is our level. We have to change levels. I can't shoot at his legs from up here. I have to shoot at him from down there. And I don't want to dive at his legs. If I dive at his legs, what that does is it flattens out my back. And if we're doing MMA, it'll allow you to catch a knee in the face, which is great. Or you can get guillotined easily. And that's why you see a lot of guys get guillotined on shots is because they dive at their shots like this. And then they get guillotined right away. So we need to change levels. What that means is I'm just taking my stance that I'm in, setting it up, and I'm just lowering it. I'm bending my knees. That's all I'm doing. And then I take my shot. So what that does is basically it's an elevator. I'm going down and in. And a good thing with MMA is you can also do that with punches. That's my setup. He punches, I go under the shot or under the punch, and then I penetrate, make the penetration step, and go in. And it also protects me against knees because I go down, my head is up, my hips are in, like if you were going to throw a knee. So I come up and I can meet that knee in my chest rather than my face. So it's good for both reasons. The next thing is, can you square up a hair more, is a penetration step. We're going to go over all this. But a lot of people, they do everything right. Up to here, they've done the setup, and then they shoot. And what they do is they just leave their foot on the ground, and they drop the knee and try to get to the guy. So they haven't actually covered any ground. They've just covered the ground from the foot to the knee because they dropped the knee to the ground. So what you need to do is take a penetration step as deep as possible. You want to exaggerate it as much as possible. I want to go past him if I can. when I was in football, my coaches always taught me to tackle the guy behind the guy you're tackling, theoretically, right? Because I want to go through him. It's the same thing with a shot. I want to go through him. Boom! So I want to cover ground. Because I have to anticipate that he's going to be moving backwards and sprawling. So I need to cover ground and go through him. So I'm correct distance, I've done my setup, I changed levels, and now I'm doing my penetration step deep past this guy. What I try to do on double legs is I'm trying to shoot past that line that I told you about. You know, from the heel to heel or the instep to instep. I'm trying to shoot past that if I can. And then I'm in a good spot right here. Okay, so when I do that, what's the best body position for me to be in once I've taken my penetration step?
Hips in, head up.
Hips in, head up, exactly. This is where I want to be. That duck walk we just did across the mat, this is the position we want to be in. The next thing we do is the finish, and that's first the follow through and then the finish. But the follow through is what we just did is I'm going to duck walk and then come up. The reason that is important is no matter how great and wonderful my shot is, and everyone's in awe, if I go like this and I stop, no matter how great the shot is, I give this guy time to sprawl, dig, and react, and he's out of the shot. That's another problem I see a lot. People do fantastic shots. They're beautiful, and then they just stop right there because their brain locks, and they get in there, and then the guy gets away, and they wonder what happened with their shot. And it's because they just stop. So what you have to do is take that shot and just continue on. Take the shot and just keep on moving. And once we get to here, then we'll go over several finishing moves. Okay? So, first of all, what's the first thing we need to worry about? Distance, exactly. What's our rule of thumb?
Bent arm.
Bent arm length. Can you shoot from farther out? You can. I do a low-level single. I can do it from clear out here where I'm just like, boom, and I'm hitting in. It violates all those principles, but just like any sport, you can violate them if you know what you're doing. But as a rule of thumb, and generally, we want to be within that distance. Okay, what's my next thing? Setup. And you guys will experiment with that and do whatever, like as we're going out today, I want you to do all kinds of things. You know, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. You can even go like this, like you start bouncing and you make him react and you can get him off the wrong cadence. And then once he pops up, you shoot. I never even have to touch him, but I'm getting him to bounce back and forth and then I shoot. Or you do a fake shot, he sprawls, and then I shoot. Boom! Setups. There's just a million things, so just experiment with that. What do I do after I set him up?
Penetration step? No, change levels.
Change levels, exactly. I'm changing levels. Next thing? Penetration step. Right here. Boom. And what's my next thing?
Duck walk.
Follow through, right? Do the duck walk. And then after that, we'll go through a bunch of finishes, or a couple finishes. Remember, when you hit that penetration step, you have to drive. You have to drive. If that means driving him into the cage, I have to do that. If that means driving him off the mat, I have to do that. You have to finish the shot. That's even important. If you take a bad shot, you can turn it into a great shot just by pursuing him. So I take a bad shot, my back's flat here. I know I've done it. He starts to sprawl, but I'm going to keep duck walking. And eventually my hips are going to catch up with me. And I've got my hips under me, and now I can finish the shot. So you can finish your shots by putting your hips under you and getting your head up. Find a partner that's about your size.